Good morning, dear students. I, Vidyasagar, welcome you all in the e-learning class of Modern International, and this is first video lecture on the topic Understanding Laws, and this is chapter 4 from your subject SPL. Dear students, in this chapter we will just understand that the law which made out by the legislative assemblies is equal for all, whether the law is implemented, then it is for a single farmer, and it is for also, then we will here know that each and everything, whether if we are doing the any particular things, then a particular law is applied to that. Like if a person, that if a person is doing any particular work, then a particular law is needed for them. Like if you are buying or selling the property, or if you are dealing for any property, or whether if you are specified for marriage, then there is also the law is needed there. Dear students, a circumstances is given here that if any government official, yeah, if a person who is in a government of administration, and if his son is committed any mistake, then whether he will get the punishment equal to others or not. Then it is true that whether any of the person or any of his family member, if it is in government official, it doesn't mean that he will release from the punishment. Whether it is the law that has been made out is equal, each and equal for everyone. Like if you will see that those laws which have been made out in the Constituent Assembly, we'll see here that in this law there is no arbitrary exercise of power. Arbitrary, it means मनमानी है ना, हिंदी में हम इसे मनमानी कह सकते हैं. So no one can just use it arbitrarily. Like in our independent India, as this law has been made out because during our colonial time we were just depressed, and we were just suppressed by the colonial powers, and none of us we were able to supposed to do the things whatever we want. So these type of powers that had been made out, that each and every person, whether that person is the president or whether the person is the common person, so all are just equal under the law. So the here we can see the most important of these was that all person in independent Israel are equal before the law. It means they all are equal, neither if the person is the president or the person is the common man, or you can say the common farmer. Both, all the laws, each and every law that has been made by in the written in the constituent, that all is equal to them. Now we will also see that the law cannot be discriminate between the two peoples on the basis of their religion, caste, gender. What the rule of law means is that all the law apply equally to the citizen of the country, and no one is above the law. It means if whether, as it was written in the first page, that whether if your father is in government official, it doesn't mean that a law it will not applies to you. It means that each and every one person, they will apply the same law, whatever if they are the resident of our country. So it doesn't mean that any of the wealthy person or the person who is at the higher authority, they will just escape from the law which have been made by the constituency. So nowadays, as we are watching that all the person, they are equal among the law. But can you imagine that whether this was happening same in the earlier times? No, it was not like that. In the earlier times, you will see that each and every peoples, they having the different law, and whether if any person is powerful among the society, then he used to just overlap the powers to the such person who are just weaker section of that society. And it also means that they were just the law, it was differing from place to place. But as we will see here, then we will found that no, nowadays the all the law, since it is written in our constituency, then we will see that all the laws which are equals. Like if the person, in the earlier times you will see that if two persons that has been committed the same crime, then what was happens there, that those persons who are belongs from the weaker section, they ever used to give the harsh punishment, wherever if the person is belongs from the uh, better supportable society, then he used to escape from the law. So these type of discriminated law were enabling in the previous society, but these type of things is not prevailing in the current society. Like it was also believed that during the British colonists who used to introduce the rule of law in India, it means they have been introduced it for some of them, like that by their different law they used to just they can tell the publics that you have to do like this. It means they by these law they were just introducing us, and they were just suppressed us that these and particular works you have to do. Like you will see that on the several grounds you will see that two types of law that has been introduced was the law of arbitrary, it means manmani, and the second it was by Indian nationalists played a prominent role in the development of legal sphere in British India. Like one example of the arbitrariness is the exist as part of British law, that is Sedition Act of 1870. In this Sedition Act, it was that any of person who is just raising his voice against the current situation, against the current kingdom, then he will be just put in the behind the prison without any reason. This was the main feature in the Sedition Act. So the idea of the sedition, it was broadly understood within this act, as any person or protesting is criticized against the British government, he could be arrested without trial. It means बिना वकील बिना दलील के उसे सजा दी जाती थी। यही जो है सेडिशन एक्ट, या इसे आप कह सकते हैं राजद्रोह। दिस वाज बेसिकली वन ऑफ द मोस्ट harsh punishment by the British colonials. And Indian nationalists who just, if you will see, then after 1857 our first nationalist movement was started, but since this movement was not succeeded, that's why we ever used to get too much late our freedom, as they all just want our Indian nationalists, they all just want that we should be equal and we should get the equal rights among all the peoples, and thus they have introduced the idea, and thus these ideas change the life. Dear students, one of the arbitrary you will see here, the example is about the Rowlatt Act. This Rowlatt Act, it was introduced in 1919, and this under this Rowlatt Act the same situation was there, that if anyone is opposing against the British colonials, then he will put in prison or he will put behind the bar. So in this act, when in Punjab, two of the great leaders, Dr. Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichlu, who was the great leader of Congress, who were just protesting, then both of them were arrested, and then all the peoples, they were just gathered on 13 April 1919 in the Jallianwala Bagh, and they just rounded up here to just protest silently. But what was here seen here, that the general dyer of the Punjab, who was the who just came with his troops, and he just announced the fire, and lot of peoples, they were just they were just armless, and nothing was to them, so they all were died. And since they were died, then it became a big massacre in the history. And as the 700 of peoples, it was died in this gunfire, and many more were wounded, including women and children. This you will see the pics. Then you will see here that it was popularly known as Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and it was committed on 13 April 1919. So this type of act, it means you can say this type of sedition act, it was proposed to them. Okay, dear students, read the paragraph and keep watching. Thank you.